1926 to teach English at the newly constructed high school. For a time, she lived with her parents, Sam and Sarah, who were now in the prosperous hotel business, providing lodging for oil workers and their families. It was a foreman for Standard Oil and a boarder, John White, who married Rebecca in 1929. In September of 1929, the library hired its first page, Margaret Clifton, for $15 a month. With the oil activity continuing strong, few could see any reason to worry about the stock market crash and what would soon be called the Great Depression. The library's first branch and reading room at 205 Main Street opened in this optimistic year. But by August 1931, declining tax receipts ultimately closed the branch and reading room down.
It was decided that the secretary make out a new budget, as closing the branch will lessen the budget expenses of the library. Bertha Reynolds, July 8, 1931.
The Depression worsened, and library budget cuts seemed to be a yearly experience. The library board considered salary cuts, but rejected it as not in the best interest of the library.
It was the opinion that our employees are not paid as well as other libraries of like size. It was decided that it would be better to continue to pay the same salaries and revise the budget on other expenses. Special meeting, February 24th, 1932.
March 10th, 1933, 5:54 p.m. John and Rebecca White were celebrating the birth of their second son and third child, Richard. Gwendolyn Reeves, who would later work at the Main Street and Central Libraries, was getting ready for her date with Tom Talbert, Jr. She and Tom would later marry. Virginia Lauer, who also would later work for the library, was with friends at the end of the pier. The city suffered no fatalities. However, many buildings were damaged. The fire and police departments would spend many weeks in the open, sleeping in tents. The metal cornice that edged the Carnegie Library's roof was damaged extensively and needed complete replacement. Carpentry work was badly needed inside, and outside, bricks had cracked and some pieces had fallen. The library would close for 2 months. Librarian Bertha Reynolds could be found sitting on the steps of the library collecting book returns from patrons for most of that time. An attempt was made to have the Carnegie Corporation help with the repair costs.
June 22nd, 1933. Your letter of June 12th duly received. I regret that it is not feasible to send a favorable reply to your plea. To create an exception in your favor would be unfair to scores of others who have been refused help under analogous circumstances. Very truly yours, James Bertram, Secretary, Carnegie Corporation.
With the City Council unable to help, the library trustees funded the repairs and accepted whatever volunteer help could be found, opening the library again in late May. For years to come, there would be talk of a new library. The wait would be nearly 20 years. Rebecca White had left teaching to take care of her 3 children. Her volunteer efforts at the library would continue all of her life. In January of 1935, she brought her children, John Jr., Sarah, and Richard, to the first children's storytelling hour, Saturday mornings at the library. Public speaking students from the high school helped tell the stories. The tile roof of the Carnegie Library was never the same after the earthquake.
February 10, 1937. The librarian reported that the building had leaked badly during the rainstorms and suggested that the roof be repaired by the roofing company which had repaired the roof at the time of the earthquake. Motion carried. Margaret Clifton, Secretary.
This was the same Margaret Clifton who had become the library's first page in 1929. Repairs were made again in 1938, and by October of that year, the board decided to remove the tile roof completely and replace it with a composition roof at a cost of $263. A series of storms beginning in September of 1939 not only flooded the library's basement, but washed away 300 feet of the pier's